Hi, this is Penny Haynes bringing you this week's edition of Brainstorm Business Podcast, sponsored by the Commercial Creation Center, your one-stop program that lets you do audios and videos and images so you can post them up on the internet and comes with help from yours truly. As a matter of fact, I just had a long discussion with one of my clients who said I really need to be branding me and not really the Commercial Creation Center so much, because the difference between my software and everybody else's is really the fact that it comes with me and that I will be there to help people, because a lot of people buy software and then don't use it, and they intend to use it to create something, but they never do. And the plus is that I actually nag you to actually create something. Isn't that handy? What I have been listening to lately is Steve Martin's autobiography, and it's about how he became a stand-up comedian and what happened when he became a success, and then why he walked away from being a stand-up comedian. And I realized there are some great business lessons to be learned from these biographies and autobiographies of these entertainers. So what I have are 5 lessons I have learned from the autobiography of Steve Martin so far, and the business lessons that I think can be applied to our own businesses. First of all, there's no such thing as an overnight success. I received an email today through one of these Yahoo groups that I'm on that said, what am I doing wrong? I've set up this website and I've got a great product and all this stuff, but I'm not seeing any sales. And I just emailed her and said, that's because you're expecting it to happen too fast. And plus, this is a horrible, horrible economy. You're expecting overnight success, and that's not how it works. And I think when we see performers, we think, oh, well, bam, they were there. And no, most of the time they'd been working for a very long time and had gone through a lot of failure and a lot of rejection beforehand. And Steve Martin was no exception. How many of you know that Steve Martin was actually a magician before he became a comedian? He started out as a helper in a magic shop because he liked that, and little by little he added comedy to his routine as he watched other magicians who were funny. Little by little he started reducing the magic and then found out that acting and doing comedy was more for him. He also worked as a comedy writer on Laugh-In and other shows, so he did a lot in comedy before he actually did stand-up comedy. Oh, and also that arrow through the head prop that he used in the 70s, that came from way back when he was working in a magic shop. So you never know what little things you're going to pick up along the way that might end up being your trademark or something really huge. Another thing that we learn from his autobiography is that timing is everything and really affects when things are accepted and when they are not. He talked about some of his favorite comedians and the difference between them, how Laurel and Hardy were very soft and the Three Stooges were really strong and hard and very aggressive. So these things were acceptable at different times. He also talks about the way that comedy changed, and when Bill Cosby came on the scene and also Bob Newhart, that they were starting to tell stories, not tell jokes. So things became more acceptable as time went on. So you might have a really great idea that's just not right for the time. When he was writing on the Laugh-In show, the big deal was political jokes. Everybody wanted to get their zingers in until finally supposedly Nixon just nixed the show and said that's it, no more. There was too much pressure put on the broadcasting company. But there was also a time after the 70s that there had been so much political jokes that Steve said that's it. I'm not using them at all anymore. It's done. It's over. It also is no longer hippie time, so he cut his hair and he changed the way that he looked. And so he was a forerunner in looking normal again, while everybody else was still looking like a hippie. He paid attention to what was going on in the times. That's all for this excerpt from the Brainstorm Business Podcast, featuring business lessons learned from the life of Steve Martin. Great autobiography. I definitely suggest that you get it. And this has been brought to you by the Commercial Creation Center, software for novices to be able to create audio, video, and images so they have something finally to post online. This is Penny Haynes signing off for this week's Brainstorm Business Podcast.